We got Chris with a K. We got Steven. Jay is coming on, folks. He's been on and off with the service. Ty is out today, folks. We got a quick hour round table to talk about all the games. I think we'll go ahead and we talk Texas OU to death, but we'll spend about 5 minutes on Texas OU to kind of get that through. But then we're going to focus on a bunch of the SEC games that happened this past weekend. But first off, guys, let's go ahead and let's talk about the Texas OU game. Yes, they're not SEC teams yet, but they will be next year in 2024. Chris, since your team was the winner, I will let you go ahead and start this conversation and let me know what you thought about the game.
Hey, man, look, honestly, in hindsight, it was a well-played game by both teams. Both teams persevered and overcame some pretty, you could say minor and some big mistakes. I think in hindsight, if you go back to the game, I think Sark maybe makes some different calls, but I definitely think that BV makes some different calls as well. Biggest thing coming out of that game is that you saw, to me, OU was physical, both sides of the ball in the trenches, where a lot of people were kind of counting them out. I think that you saw some people grow up as well, and you saw some big time plays being made by some big time players out there on both sides. But I would say Dillon Gabriel, hats off to him. I thought the defense collectively played well, but this game was more or less about Dillon Gabriel and his performance. I think to me, one thing I would definitely say is that I have no doubts that we will have a rematch, in Arlington for the Big 12 championship. I think that it's only right. I think that both teams have a path there. Don't get me wrong. There's some trap games. There are some Cinderella teams that are going to try to, pop up or whatever. Everybody's trying to get bowl eligible, but hey, I feel really confident about what I saw. But man, you just went out there, man. The heart, the intensity, all the rest of that, us against the world mentality, loved it all. Like I said, man, it just kind of is what it is. Ball rolled our way. We ended up being on the good side of the at the end and got the win, man. 6-0.
Jay, how about you?
Was good. Sorry, for some reason I couldn't hear anything for like the last 15 minutes. So I'm actually had to reboot my computer twice. It's just absurd. That's why I kept going in and out. It was just like nothing wanted to work. So of course it's Wednesday and everything wants to go to hell. So what was the question? What were we talking about?
We're talking about just give you a quick recap of the Texas OU game. I was telling all the fans, look, we have talked about this like crazy from Saturday to today. We're going to spend about a quick 5 minutes on this before going to the SEC games.
I love it. No, you know what? I'll say this, if anything. Both teams brought what they could. One just came in there a little bit better prepared. Like the Sooners, we walked in just a little bit better prepared and we executed more. But overall, I mean, I've already done my slander of Texas, so I'm already past that portion of it. Texas is not a bad team. There's a lot of great players on both sides of the ball that you have to account for. And so as long as everybody takes care of business, we'll be kicking it in Arlington. That's the goal. Now, the one thing I do have to say is neither team can overlook who's in front of them because Big 12 teams are quite infamous for spoiling stuff. And I think the last time we said we see you in Arlington, one of us didn't make it.
We went to
I think
5-7.
two of us haven't. So it happens very often when we try to get out there and gas ourselves. Now, 1 week at a time. And I think that's why I've enjoyed Venable's mentality throughout all of this.
Thank you, sir.
They focus on being 1-0. 1-0. Your goal is to win one game, the one game in front of you. We think about the next team later because these Big 12 teams, not only are they gunning for us because we're leaving, but your mark is gunning for us because we're leaving. So we can't be dumb to think that, we're just going to walk. No. They're going to try to find the worst nightmare for your mark is us at center field in Arlington going after his coveted trophy for the last year. That is the worst thing that could happen to him.
Hey, Jay.
And the question is, who does he hate more, y'all or us?
Hey, Jay, I got a question for you. This be some funny shit. Actually, it's a question for everybody on here. If Texas and OU make the championship game, do they walk in screaming SEC as they do warm-ups?
I hope so. Embarrass them.
Hey,
Embarrass them. That's what you do.
real quick before we pass it off to y'all, just a couple of things. So, looking at y'all's schedule, I think BYU and K State. Now, I know I say K State, and I put some emphasis on them
Say it
because
loosely.
we've seen the way they play. For us, I would say it's probably BYU and Kansas. I think obviously, I would not be shocked. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Jalen Daniels doesn't come out there and the crowd is behind him and all the rest of that stuff. But I think it'll be something similar to what happened last year in Lawrence whenever Texas came through. I think it'll be a lot of emotion, a lot of all the rest of that stuff. Take that out and just pound that rock, get about it there. I think those are the two games. Obviously, you can talk about Bedlam. Gundy's going to try to call a good game, but I think we'll take care of that. But those are the two. Those are the two games for each team that I think that are kind of really under the radar games, but should be on our radar. I hope that y'all beat the hell out of Houston for some odd reason, just because I don't like Holderson. But last thing I'll say before I pass the mic, y'all get me connected with Nash. I'd like to have him on the show. Me and Nash.
No. Don't be messing with the homie, all right? Nah, we ain't going for that.
Hey man, look, man. Nash is going through some things, so I've just let everything he say pass. I just overlooked it this entire because you can tell he is basically tweeting through it. He's tweeting through. It ain't OU Texas is his problem. Something else is getting him. He's tweeting through it, so I've left him alone. I wanted to roast.
All I know is Nash got like 4 million impressions in one day.
Yeah,
I know.
He getting his mortgage paid right now.
Hey, look, y'all tell Nash that I'm looking for him. I ain't hard.
I mean, he's playing the game. I ain't mad at him. He's doing what he. This is the problem, Sooner Nation. I have with us is we will engage in asinine discussions for the benefit of the asinine people that are doing it. We've got to stop. We've got to start disengaging and ignoring these moofus because they're only doing it for clicks. And like you said, Nash just got his mortgage paid. I saw on his Twitter page where he needs people to watch his videos. Well, hell, if he just make that clickbait tweets moving forward, he's going to make a couple dollars off Elon Musk. So, Sooner fans, stop falling. That's a trap. That's bait. And we're falling for it every time.
Hey, guys, one more thing prior to me, actually turn over to Steven. Quentin with the super chat for $2. Chris, there you go. Hey, Quentin, don't worry about Chris. You're going to talk about your $2 chats. I'm all here for it, man. Send him $2 chats. Quentin, you my dog. You my dude, Quentin. You my dude. He said, you don't pound the rock, though.
Steven's face when I said, let me get connected with Dash was like, oh, well, no. We don't need y'all two in a room. If y'all want him,
Steven over protecting people. Look at him.
No, I'm not. I didn't say a word, fellas.
Bring Quentin to me. Bring one of those two to me.
Hold on. You said you're not hard to find. Neither is Nash, brother. Go.
Hey,
DMs are open. As far as I'm concerned,
man.
Yeah.
Go get that face to
face. Reach out. That'd be some explosive content. I'll tell you that much.
Hey, you see, Nash didn't go to sleep after the loss like Seth did last year.
It'd be only second to Miami Spaces if Nash and Chris got together.
Seth, we love you though.
Because when Miami Spaces starts popping, that's when the signal drops and everything because those folks get too turned.
Exactly.
So you only get about 3 minutes of content from those folks, but after that it drops.
All right, Steve, over to you, man.
Yeah. So I want to take this from the standpoint of aftermath, right? Because one thing that I've consistently said is when you have a heavyweight fight in college football and you have two teams and you go to a war, you're going to lose casualty. There's going to be casualties of war.
Yeah.
Every year this happens,
damage.
Right? There's collateral damage. And this is a significant factor because I'm in the mindset, I'm done analyzing the game. We've said everything left, right, and sideways about the game. I'm looking at this from an aftermath perspective. Okay. Texas with the Jake Majors injury, the Jalen Catalon injury. We know Ryan Watts is looking to work his way back. He didn't play in this game. But the injuries that occurred in battle, and this is why I've always said moving to the SEC, and OU fans have talked about they've made the term competitive depth. Texas has talked about being too deep. This is exactly why. Because when you start to have wars week over week, I don't care how good you are. When you play, we're playing too intense, too fast, and there's too much emotion for people not to get hurt. Okay.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened with both of these teams. When you look at Gentry Williams and Andrew Anthony and the guard that y'all lost, like there's significant injuries that occurred on both sides, right? Where now we're going to have to look at competitive depth on both sides. Cole Hudson looking to come back. Maybe, hey, we'll have him, fill in for Majors and for the time being as Jake works through his injuries. We don't know what those long-term situations are. What Cedric Baxter's injury situation is going to be long-term. How does, and I guess my question, what I'm looking out of this in terms of aftermath, I think the good thing for Texas and OU is there shouldn't be those type of games on the schedule to where we are so turned to where we're going to lose people again, those type of games until the Big 12 championship. But how do you overcome those big pieces? Andrew Anthony was playing at an all Big 12 level at receiver. He would really replace Marvin Mims' production. I know that room is deep, but that's still a big loss, right? How do you replace the guard? How do you replace, and some people may come back, but in the case of Anthony, I'm thinking because he's out for the season. And I know what Texas is dealing with on our side, right? Like Nino, people are going to be sending stunts and all sorts of crap
Guys got
at
to
our
grow up.
interior.
Guys got to
have to grow up real quick, right? These are the things that this is exactly why Jay just said for both teams, you cannot be looking ahead to Arlington right now. As far as if I'm Texas, I need to see y'all, especially coming off of L. There are no more excuses. I need to see y'all turn the hell up in Houston, period. I need to see y'all play a complete game. And if you're playing a bad team, establish the habit of execution, establish the habit of dominance, the same way OU did early in the season, so we can get people in the game and get competitive reps for Malik Murphy and some of the younger guys. So if people go down in other battles, we have guys with game reps on our team, because we have to consider the wars to come. My question to you guys, do you have any injury updates or anything else, or, to the point on the OU side, where it's like, hey, we're going to have to now work in some other guys with the people that were lost in the battle as well?
Real quick on that, I'll answer your injury question at the end, but you made a point that I think people, this was my concern for Texas. You guys were, as I said before, playing with your food, right? Which means that at the end of the game, you're not getting those reps for your young guys. You're not getting those reps for the players, just rotational guys, getting them just snaps. Sometimes you just need 15 to 20 snaps a game to get your mind right. And that was the difference I said with Oklahoma. And this is the reason why I said that. We took out Troy Everett and we lost McKade Mettauer, our two guards. So we took out Troy because Sweat was whooping his ass. Just real talk. Point blank. Period.
Made an adjustment.
Troy also transferred from Appalachian State. So he was a young sophomore guard that we brought in. Savion Byrd, our starter's hurt, so we couldn't play him. And Troy is the transfer, but we took him out. We put Caden Green in. Caden Green's a freshman. He's a true freshman, and he held his own. Then we, of course, brought in another player brought in Parks for Mettauer when he went down. And my point is, we was able to give Caden Green a lot of snaps at the beginning of the season because of the blowouts. And so Caden was a little bit more ready walking in at guard and walking in at tackle than what you would typically get out of a freshman. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Same thing with our defensive line. And so that was the only, and I mean, I know some of y'all saw that as like shade I was throwing at Texas, but that was truly my concern is, if you're not giving those young guys those reps early in the season so they can get their mind right, later in the season when attrition kicks in, they're going to be thrown to the wolves. And the game you don't want to throw to the wolves is an OU Texas game. I don't want to see any of our young players get thrown out there for the first time against Texas. And that's just because it's a spirited hate for each other. That's going to be people actually playing their hardest.
In which we were hitting.
Yeah,
it was
teams.
it was
yes,
bound to happen.
Stupid. Somebody's
Yes.
getting hurt. My only
Right.
AJ, my only like get back on that is everybody who played that were backups in the game had all gotten a lot of game experience with the exception of Connor Robinson. He was our third string center. And so
but that's my point.
no,
That's my point.
but usually even when you're blowing out teams, your second string center is the one that's going to get those snaps at like at the end of the game, and that's Cole Hudson.
But how long has your second string been starting though? How long has he been the starter?
But that's the thing.
That's the thing. He's our swing guy. Yeah, but he's been hurt for how long
Cole,
now? For 2 weeks.
But Cole, in a blowout though, I don't know if Cole would have played center. I think we would have played Connor Robertson in blowouts.
You think so?
I think Cole Hudson is this backup center because he already gets game reps. Like it's kind of like what we used to do with Kerstetter.
Yeah.
I think Cole Hudson is your backup center if shit goes down. But because he's gone,
that's true.
I do think
that's true.
Connor
we should have
Robertson.
Connor should have got some reps. He should have got some reps.
Because Connor typically works with Malik. Honestly,
true.
Connor and Malik typically work together.
Hey man, but
and they take snaps together.
He snapped very well. He snapped well. I was kind of surprised by that, since Quinn is not his go-to QB, right? So
right. That's kind of was my point with that is that he probably would have gotten at least, like I said, all you need sometimes is just 10 to 15 snaps in game situations just to start feeling comfortable. Because the nerves kick in usually the first couple games, and about that third game, you're like, I'm a little more loose.
You're used to being in the game.
You know what though? Honestly though, I don't think it would have made a difference. And I'm gonna tell you guys why I don't think it would have made a difference.
Fair.
Texas has been putrid in the red zone all year, and it didn't change. I mean, it was putrid in the red zone with first stringers.
Nino, everything's connected though, brother.
Everything's
connected because if the reason why, to Jay's point though, the only way those guys get to play, that means you're consistently executing and you're scoring a crap load of points to get them in the game.
Yeah.
So if Texas had been showing that, then that means that Texas would have also come into this game being way more proficient in the red zone, way more proficient scoring points, which would have means we're a different team. So I do think that because we've been having those struggles. Me and you talked about the Wyoming game where it's like, bro, we got to go to Byron Murphy.
Yeah, you know what though? I had a conversation with a friend of mine in like another group chat, and he was down my ass about the end of the game. And I was saying, Sark needs to be more aggressive at the end of the game. He's like, no, he's playing for the field goal. What he should have done was run the clock out. I said, two things can be true and still be the same. I said, look, if you're not going to run the clock out, then you need to go all gas, no brakes. You need to just go ahead and score a touchdown if you're not going to run the clock out. If you're going to run the clock out and go for a field goal, then awesome. Do that. Go for the game-winning field goal. Worst comes worst, we go to overtime. But we just did not put our foot in the gas in that last drive. And I see where they're coming from. You want OU to use their timeout, hindsight 2020. OU didn't need a timeout to go score a touchdown. So,
but that's who we've been. That's who we've been for the last 2 years. Our team has been built on just 1 minute and 12-second drives. It's the weird. It's the craziest thing. Well, that's a Lebby offense, though.
But that's understandable. But that's what I was about to say. Stephen was. We're talking about the offense, and I said I think the offense has been pretty vanilla this year, and the only time that we haven't been vanilla is Alabama and OU. And my friend was like, they haven't been vanilla. Look at the play against Wyoming where we had Byron Murphy. I'm like, no, that's not a explosive play. That's a vanilla game. It's a shame that we had to do a trick play to get a touchdown in the red zone. So I don't think that's not being vanilla. That's desperation.
Fundamentally, honestly though, and because I know we're spending more time than we want to.
We're spending a lot of time.
Fundamentally, however you want to phrase it with Texas, you're right. We've had more comprehensive game plans, obviously for Alabama and OU. Yeah. My issue with that is you establish a flip the switch mentality with your program. You are not creating a habit of
putting your foot in the throat. When I look at Texas,
you're telling your kids basically like, we chilling this week because I'm gonna run the good stuff against this other person.
Week. That's not his way. Then
that's the habit you're developing.
But
OU and them are like, they're grading their kids on proficiency of scoring against air. We don't care who's on the other side, right? Like
to an extent, because I think Chris and Jay would tell us too that You guys say you didn't show much against SMU, right?
We didn't. There was certain games we did go pretty vanilla
but
on.
you guys say that you didn't show much against Cincinnati.
No,
right?
Cincinnati, I think we did actually show a little bit
so?
more than we probably should have. Yeah. Cincinnati, the big thing with Cincinnati was that defensive line, man. Corleone is really good. And it's
they were running.
The rest of it you can exploit.
Jay, I disagree.
We ran a lot more.
I disagree a little bit. I disagree a little bit. Plays just weren't clicking that day. Honestly, the execution was off. Yeah,
but also, like when I see these two teams, I look at a team like the 2019 LSU team where they didn't care who was in front of them. They're going to put 60 on them. They didn't care. They didn't care if it's Northern Iowa, directional Montana, southeast Delaware to the 18th degree. They were going to go ahead and put 60, 66 on them every game. And so, yeah, you can't just be able to flip the switch. You got to put your foot in their throat every game.
There was no flipping the switch with LSU, man. Yeah. Every they expected to score a touchdown every single time they got on the field, regardless of personnel.
Exactly. All right, guys, look, man, it's already 7:30. We didn't spend too much damn time in this game. We got 20 minutes in.
We did. And injury-wise, I want to give you a quick update that you asked for. Andrew Anthony's done for the year. I think it's a torn ACL, most likely.
Damn.
But he's having knee surgery. So we've got a next man up. Which competitive depth-wise, we've already thrown to 8 different wide receivers this season. So we've had a tendency of doing that. Thank goodness. Matauer should be back in the next couple weeks. It was just it sounds like a sprain. It wasn't an actual broken anything. But that's the leg he broke. So I think that's why he laid on the ground for as long as he did. Because when you've broken it once, you're nervous that is again. But come to find out, it's just a sprain.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Couple weeks out, and then everybody else was good. Dehydration was the other problem we started dealing with, and that weather was a lot different than we expected, to be honest.
Last thing I'll say, we could jump on to the next one is 3 guys that you expect to see. Y'all gonna laugh at this last one, but Jaden Gibson.
Go ahead.
Jaden Gibson, is your turn now. Don't be surprised if you see Petaway out there as well. A lot of Petaway. I think you can see him. Obviously, I think we'll see more Gavin Freeman, different things like that. But Brennan Thompson, it could be your turn. It could be your turn.
It is. He's looking healthier. His ankle's looking better. He sprained it when he played the last game. I think he kind of tweaked it. Not bad, but he had the deep pass. He went down. I think the second play after that, he kind of tweaked something. And so he's been out, but I expect him to be back.
Football shape and track shape are 2 different things. All right, look, Don C., thanks for the chat, the $10 chat. Said I called into Nino's show a few weeks ago and told him OU was better in the trenches than he was giving us credit for. After watching the game, what part of OU surprised you the most? Just the physicality. They're physical as hell. Physicality. That's everything else I expected. The physicality. That was it. But also, this is a game where, oh my God, it doesn't matter what happens. Both teams are going to be up for this game. Heads are going to be knocking. Heads are going to be knocking.
Thank you for the donation, Don C. I'm going to group your question into Blake's question, and then we really are going to move on to the other slate, and we're going to go speed round with these other games that were played.
Exactly. Some good games.
Don C.'s question surprised me the most. BV in year 2 as a head coach has made tremendous strides with his game management and echo in relationship with Jeff Lebby in terms of tempo. I think they've found the right stride. And his game management was tremendous for somebody who's in their second year as a head coach compared to Sark, who's been a head coach for over 100 games as a college coach. So that was a surprising thing to me. From DG, I've said this before. Jay, Chris have heard me multiple times. He was the MVP of this game, of the Red River. He's the hero. He's a Heisman candidate at this point. Anything that surprised me with him was, I guess, the toughness running and sustaining the contact and being asked to carry the OU run game in a lot of ways. So that was not. I was not surprised that it was their most effective play. I said this coming into the week. Their best running plays were the DG plays, but the toughness to sustain, big context, big plays, 3rd and 12, scrambling for first downs. Incredible performance by Dylan Gabriel. Nothing but respect to him.
Gotcha. All right, guys, let's go to the next game. Surfer Boy. He says, Steve, Carson Beck is number 10 in the Heisman race and gives me the eyes emojis. But look, let's go.
Georgia, man.
Let's talk about Georgia and Kentucky.
Talk about it.
Good God.
About it.
Do we really want to talk about that game?
Look, man,
I don't know if I want to talk about that.
Look, I want to start this one off, man. I want to start this one off. Devin Leary, where are you? It's
Come
like,
to the
where's
front.
Waldo? It's what it is right now. Where is Devin Leary? 10 for 26, 120 yards or something like that. Where's Devin
Nasty.
Leary? I understand Georgia has a hell of a defense. We get it. Totally understand. But Devin Leary, you were supposed to come into Kentucky and do some good things. Hey, look, Will Levis had this team almost beating Georgia last year, right? Just call it what it is. That game wasn't close, Chris. I mean, I'm sorry. That game was close last year. Kentucky game was close, and so was the Missouri game. Those are two very close games last year. They went down to the wire, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Am I lying about that?
I think they kept it low. It was a low scoring game, but Kentucky had a hell of a time trying to score.
No, I thought there was but like wasn't like 13 to 7 or something like that.
It was 16-6 last year.
Yeah, so I'm saying they kept it
It was
close.
16
No, I get it, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying Will Levis, they couldn't sustain drives. It was 3 and
That
out.
is true.
Well,
No.
Levis
And they're
also
one-
is in what's his name? I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Levis is the quarterback last year. Devin Leary is not Levis. That's your
No,
problem.
he's not. That's the problem.
Leary- Leary's booty, man.
And hey, I thought Leary was going to be better than what he was. I thought it was going to be a lot better advertised than what we had him advertised was.
especially with what's around him.
Dude, he has
Too.
talent.
Right.
Well,
He has talent around. He has probably, I'm going to say, a sneaky top 3 or top 4 wide receiver room in the SEC. That wide receiver room is nasty.
I'm just gonna wrap mine up real quick and just let y'all know. So coming into the game, my uncle called me and he said, "Hey man, I think Kentucky could possibly go beat them." I said, "No, they're not. They're gonna get dogged." And he said, "Why are you saying that?" He said, "Georgia ain't look good." I said, here's the problem. What people are forgetting is that you can talk all you want about Georgia. Kentucky's been struggling with School of the Blind, School of the Deaf, everybody out there. FCS East, FCS West. They've been struggling with those teams.
They've been bad.
It was Florida
They've been
that had everybody fooled because they were able to run the ball on Florida. It's Florida right now. Florida is heckle and jive right now. We don't know what they are from week to week. They are
pretty garbage.
they are garbage. But the thing is that everybody thought, oh, well, Kentucky dominating them, they'll be able to dominate. No, they're not. They've been starting out slow against everybody. It takes them a while to separate.
Watch Florida give Georgia the business 2 in 2 weeks. Then I'll be like, what the hell, man? What is this?
No. Hey,
I do want to touch on this from a Georgia perspective, though, real quick. I picked on our Bleacher Report show. I picked Georgia to win this game, and there was a lot of action on Kentucky, and from different SEC shows and platforms, not ours, but there were other SEC shows where people were picking Kentucky to cover. There were some people picking Kentucky for the upset coming into this game. I never really understood it for a couple reasons. Ray Davis is the truth at running back, but my plan coming in to beat a Georgia team, you got KYP, know your personnel. That's not the way, brother. Like I don't care if you have Adrian Peterson back there. If you don't have a passing game, you're not just going to walk in and I don't care how good the back. That's literally Georgia's specialty, number one. Unless you try to marry that and your quarterback's going to move the football down the field with his arm, you're not going to be effective against that defense. Second thing, Georgia was 0 for 5 against the spread coming into this game. They literally had been, blah, blah, blah. But I said it. In the Auburn game on the road, there was a certain look that I saw from Kirby Smart where he's like, look, these young guys are starting to pass the test. They're learning. But the other thing is Georgia has been so beaten down. Their injury report has been crazy. They have people rotating in that don't even play running back, getting reps at running back in practice. But here's the good news. Peoples have started coming back, and Carson Beck and Bobo are gelling. We got to remember, not only did Georgia lose Stetson Bennett, they also lost Todd Monken to the Baltimore Ravens. So you have a new quarterback and a new OC that need just time. We know it's ball, y'all. Like, they need time to gel. Carson Beck is what? They led 600 yards total offense. Carson Beck almost had 400 yards passing in this game.
He did that thing.
And guess who's back? That came back against Auburn then. Ladd McConkey is back.
Oh, your boy.
Ladd hadn't played.
Your boy.
Ladd had not played. Ladd didn't come back until Auburn.
Ladd is
now Ladd is back. Now Brock is 100% healthy. Brock Bowers all of a sudden 132 yards. Now the running backs are slowly starting to trickle back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
They're getting.
they're starting to get healthy at the right point.
They're
right
starting
time.
to get healthy, and the quarterback and Bobo are starting to get on the same page. Kentucky didn't have a shot in this game.
No, they didn't.
I don't care how they want to try to scheme him up or whatnot, but damn it, man, damn it. Somebody just put have somebody just say, look, I'm gonna put my 2 or my 3 CB. No, don't go get some short ass slot guy that you want to follow the slot. No, follow him. Put somebody on him. Like, why? How is he getting open? That makes no sense. It's not even scheme half the time. He's just running wide open. Like, what are we doing?
It's bad.
It's very bad.
But yeah, Leary is definitely.
Ooh, look at Surfer Boy's comp. Look, see, sir, I love Surfer Boy's in his bag right now. I can't imagine being a Georgia fan. You're literally living in the golden era. This is the time of Camelot.
I mean, this is tie with Alabama for years, for the last 10, 16 years. Absurdity, man. It's depressing. Like, what the heck,
Very depressed.
man?
I'm tired of looking at Georgia stuff. But talking
I
about
want Georgia to lose just because I'm just tired of them having a dynasty. That's it.
But look, I don't think it's happening this year. They're going to the SEC championship game this year. But talking about Bama,
Jay, it could happen in the SEC championship game.
That's
where they'll be.
That is the game.
So,
and that's probably about Alabama the way it's looking. Like,
let's transition that to the SEC West and let's talk about Alabama. Alabama versus A&M. Alabama versus A&M, man. Look, I thought I gave A&M a little credit in this game. I said I think A&M has a good shot at this game. You know, Cal Field. Don't know if the offensive coordinator was going to marriage up a great system for Milroe. I thought that Bobby Petrino was calling some pretty damn good offenses for his personnel ever since, Connor got hurt. Max Johnson has been looking pretty good in that offense. And they came up against Bama and they couldn't run the ball. And Max Johnson looked like he didn't look pedestrian. He looked like an average quarterback against a really good defense. Alabama's defense rocked.
Not good enough to beat Bama.
No,
that type of quarterback
and
play.
Jalen Milroe, that kid is growing up in front of our eyes as we speak. Every freaking game, you're seeing the deep ball come through. Now you're starting to see some of those intermediate passes. But Bama couldn't run the ball either, but A&M's defensive line is great. So it was a good, stalwart game there, but Bama got the win. What's your thoughts on it, Jay?
Man, I went back and looked at this a little bit, and Steven said it best. We're seeing Milroe finally grow up. We're seeing him and Reese figure it out together and figure out how to actually use him right. 321, 3 touchdowns, especially as mentioned. A&M's defensive line is literally like 10 5-star players, defensive linemen. Now, I mean, they've got 5 stars, 4 deep right now. 4 deep. Rotating.
Fresh.
And they still can't win. They still can't close. They constantly underachieve. How do we allow Jimbo Fisher to do this to us? Florida State fans was telling everybody, hey, man, you know what you're going to get when you get them, right? Yeah, we won a title with them, but you know what you're going to get when you get them, right? And it is coming to fruition. It's no different than what we tell USC fans all the time. This is not good for what is going on over there at A&M. And just the fact that, I mean, Bama had to hustle it and get it done. I mean, that defensive line holds them in games but cannot close. They look tired in the end. They don't look like they want to be there. They're like, man, I don't want to work no overtime. I done did my 40 hours. Where's my check? I'm trying to go. They mad. They bitter. And
I'm on Jimbo agent for whatever I do in life. Whatever I do in
call
life.
Jimmy Sexton tomorrow. That's who I want. I'm about to call him about
Chris,
a TV deal for myself. Hey, man,
Chris,
go
Chris,
shop
I'm
me.
not hiring you as my agent / lawyer. I'm getting Sexton, all right?
Why not?
Hey, man.
I'll let you read some of the legal stuff, but Sexton is my negotiator. You ain't got ish on him.
That's fine. Me and Steven will team up. Steven believes.
Look at Steven's face. Steven's like, I'm sorry, what?
I'm getting Sexton too.
My brother in Christ. If Jimmy Sexton calls me, I'm gonna leave you too.
What is going on
I called
here?
Steven last night. I ain't heard from him in like 3 weeks, man.
Yep.
Nope.
No. Get your messing with these nice people.
Oh man, Chris, how about you, man?
Man, look, it's y'all said it perfectly. Y'all know what I said a couple of shows ago, man. Milrose showed a lot. It's the maturation process. What it boils down to with Alabama is what Milroe are you going to get? Are you going to get Milroe versus Texas, or are you going to get Milroe the rest of the against everybody else? Because he's looked pretty damn good. Sometimes he starts a little bit slow, but at the same time, once he gets into a rhythm, he's a rhythm passer to me. I think he's a guy that would do well in like a Sark or like or with Levy. The reason why I say that is because they would do everything they could to try to get him in the rhythm early and often. I'm talking
And
about
the deep ball too. Oh, could you
yeah, that
imagine him and
stuff too,
Sark's offense with that deep ball?
but the screens, the little bubble screens, different things like that, trying to get him. I mean, that stuff that they would do. Excuse me. I like Tommy Reese, but it's just been it's becoming a better fit, but it was a bad fit at first whenever they started. But I think that the narrative about Alabama is simply what kind of Milroe you're going to get. But we're talking a lot about Alabama. We're not talking enough about Jimbo Fisher.
Let's talk about Jimbo.
Second loss of the season. I mean, I don't know. I mean, $76 million is still too steep, but they're starting to grow tired of it. I don't know what you guys know. Y'all on the Texas side, y'all should definitely know a lot more than we know about it. But man, it may be time, man. He's notoriously an 8-5 coach, man. Gonna make a bowl game. We all know that, but I don't know, man. What to even
They're not. Let me jump in here. So they're not there yet in terms of firing the coach, because so let me put it this way. The same way we talked about last season with Texas, this is kind of the year before the year. And like this year, our expectation coming into 2023 season with the way our roster looks, I'm talking about Texas Longhorns. Our expectation is to win the conference. We figured maybe, outside fringe playoff, we'll see. Like that's the type of year we're expecting to have. That's the expectation for A&M going into 2024. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. The way they've ramped, because if you think about it, that 2021 class is where they invested all the money. That's year 3, right? So this is technically the year before the year, coming off the 5-win season where a lot of A&M fans were telling me at least, hey, if we're 8-4, but we look good, especially with the excuse you now have built in with Connor Weigman's injury, if the rest of the young boys look good and there's development, we can sell all that. Now, here's what you can't sell. When you also tell me in the same breath, A&M fans, that Alabama's down and that, you guys, Texas beat the worst version of Nick Saban's team ever, and then you get that same Alabama team at home. Granted, yeah, we played them in week 2, you played them in week 6, whatever. But they come in College Station
and Mollywop,
Oh.
and you guys are and they beat y'all. Like that's and now and I kept saying, with all these people talking about Alabama's down, and y'all keep using the South Florida game as your basis for making these arguments, all I've said is, show me when Nick Saban starts losing SEC West games. That's when I'll start to buy into this whole they're truly down. Until Nick starts losing those games, y'all need to take them out, and they didn't do that. I do think though that the volume with A&M fans, especially I look at Casey Smith, who has obviously a very large platform on Barstool Sports, A&M alum, and she's been very, very protective of A&M. And for her to come out and blast Jimbo Fisher and she stated so many examples of playing not to win and punting on 4th and 1 at home and not showing, why are we paying you this amount of money to be in a game like this where y'all told us that this Bama team is down. This is our opportunity to strike. Elish, who's the juggernaut in the SEC West right now?
Nobody.
Not anybody, right? So if there's ever a year for us to maybe strike early, let's do it, right? Now we're going to wait for our year in 2024, but some of these teams are going to be ramped back up too. So what are we doing? And I appreciated that passion and insight, because you rarely see that from A&M people, because they act like a damn cult and they act like you can't publicly criticize your team in public and all this type of stuff. No, I will say this, Chris, to answer your question. the volume is starting to raise
Yeah.
from A&M people I know that have been defensive, but they're like, all right, this is some bullshit. Like we can't keep
Yeah.
like come on. They even know it too.
I just want to know what is going on behind the scenes there, because it seemed like initially that Bobby Petrino, it seemed like this offense was starting to do its thing, and then it just seemed like it just plummeted the last couple of weeks. We're like, what is happening here? Is it just fool's gold? Did Jimbo say it looked too good? Let me take it back.
How much of it is Connor? Is Connor not being there? What percentage would you put on the quarterback?
I like Connor
because he's really good.
No, I like Connor, but
Max isn't bad.
Yeah, I like Connor, but is he that much of a difference with all those weapons? Right? So I'm pretty sure Jay and Chris would probably tell you, if Texas lost Quinn Ewers, would you guys still feel comfortable that Texas would be able to execute with Murphy? Chris and Jay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Right?
yeah, I think a healthy Murphy. Yeah, I think y'all. I don't think he's gonna make the same throws, but I think he's more of a threat because he could definitely move.
But
Yeah,
but,
I think a lot of OU fans. So we want to see him on the sideline. We
No,
Yeah,
But
we don't ever
even
want to see
with
him
Murphy, even with Murphy, I would build in a buffer with Murphy because he has 0 college experience.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So even with Murphy, I would build in, he's going to execute, but there's also like a period where I would give a grace period where I would say, hey, just like with Milroe, right? Like Milroe gets in there. It's like, what the hell am I looking at? Right. Like you need to get used to the speed of college football.
It's true.
Murphy's going to need that too. Max Johnson doesn't have that excuse.
doesn't. He
Max
doesn't have it.
Johnson has a 27 touchdown season with LSU.
Yeah. In the
So
conference,
even like
so
the
he knows.
experience thing, he knows.
And he's a quarterback's son.
It's not
too,
even
so
the same with Malik Murphy. Like we're talking about somebody that has
How's
plenty of
Max so bad?
experience.
How's Max so bad?
He's an NFL quarterback's son, right? Right?
That's played a lot of
Right?
Brad Johnson's
He's
son.
played a
Yeah,
lot.
the NFL
Played a lot.
son, right? So this,
Played
I
a
mean,
lot of
it's-
football.
yeah. So I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. So they're a talented team. I don't understand why
Evan
they
Stewart only 46 yards
Yeah.
on Saturday.
crazy. He might be the best wide receiver in the SEC, in my opinion. But it just is what it is, man. Or one of the top 3. But I'm kind of tired of talking about A&M. They suck. It is what it is. Bama got their ass really good. They got a pretty tough game next week too. But
We'll get to that Tennessee game when
Yeah.
we start talking about week 7.
shout out to
But
Bama,
go ahead.
man. Shout out to Bama. Bama's going to win the SEC West. They are. They're looking like the team I think that's going to win this SEC West. They got one more tough task, man. They got Auburn and LSU. And I think their defense is going to rattle LSU eventually, but that's for like weeks ahead.
But they got, the thing is, they survived the big road test with the inexperienced quarterback, and now you get the next 3 games at home.
Home cooking.
Let's talk about
Arkansas.
LSU.
Let's
talk about
let's do
LSU.
Arkansas, right? Okay. LSU.
Let's talk about LSU first.
No,
then go to
LSU
Arkansas.
Missouri was a great game.
LSU, Missouri. Go ahead.
Because
Jay. Go ahead.
because that game was not supposed to be that flipping close. What happened to LSU's defense, dog?
What happened to
What
your-
is going on? I'm watching these SEC games and nobody's playing defense. What is going on this year? This is wild to me. I'm used to LSU being DBU. Like they usually stop. Dog, they look Cook throw for 411 yards.
He cooked on him.
He cooked
Is it
on
Kerry-
him.
is
Like,
it
what
Kerry
is going
Cook?
on this year?
Isn't Kerry Cooks their DB coach?
I'm not sure.
At LSU?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Let me check. But I tell you what, man, LSU's defense.
No, I mean, I is it
Corey.
Raymond? Is it still
Corey Raymond.
or
Corey
is it-
Raymond. Corey Raymond.
No,
He's still the
Raymond
quarterback.
still there?
Gone.
No, he's
Corey
gone.
Raymond's
gone.
He went to
he
Florida.
gone?
Right?
Florida.
He went to
You
Florida.
might be right. You might be
Yeah,
right.
he went to
Yeah,
Florida.
BK. When
I'm
BK
going to the-
got
I'm going to
there,
the coaching staff
Raymond,
now. Let me
Raymond went to
see.
Raymond went to Florida. It's not Corey Raymond.
No, it's not Raymond.
Robert Steeples.
Okay.
Well, whoever the hell it is, he terrible too. like,
He's a former LSU corner.
bruh, y'all can't tell me. When I was at the game, they kept putting and when I was at the OU Texas game, they kept putting the scores up, and I said 22-7. What the hell is going on? I said, Missouri's that good to get a safety? Then I started watching the highlights back, and I was like, they went for 2 on y'all. I was like, this is crazy. But
embarrassing.
Their defense is just like it's too inconsistent. Talking about Missouri, but I mean they were cooking them. Like Jay said, they were cooking them, man, any way that they wanted. Luther Burden, I'll be honest with you. Evan Stewart may have a higher upside, but Luther Burden's the best wide receiver in the SEC right now.
He's
the
a dog.
Luther Burden, for those who don't know, and I don't, depends on how much stock you put in PFF, but according to Pro Football Focus, Luther Burden is the highest graded receiver in the country.
Yeah. Which is why I made that statement and said he's top 2 or 3 is what I said after I made, because I remember it. I remember that that damn wide receiver room at Missouri might be the best wide receiver room in the SEC.
Theo Weiss is balling.
Yeah,
Cooper.
Theo Weiss had 4 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Mookie Cooper's balling.
Cooper's
good to see
Mookie
too,
man.
Mookie Cooper had over 80 something yards.
Theo Weiss is a 1 in his own right. He's not even just a 2. Obviously, he's the 2 because Luther's there, but Theo Weiss healthy and given the opportunity can be a 1 for you. I knew that they were going to have one of the best wide receiver groups, not wide receiver rooms, not only in the SEC but in the nation, simply because of that. That was a sticky good pickup if he's healthy. For me, I just it's just crazy that LSU is going through this, but this is, we talked about Jimbo Fisher. How much more of a leash are they going to give him? I know this is year 2, but Brian Kelly, because they're not making the playoffs. There's no way they're making the playoffs with 2 losses. I don't care, but
but they still have the SEC in front of them.
Yeah, he has rope in front of them.
He has rope. I mean, the thing with BK right now is the defense. He's got to fix the defense, but if you look at the schedule that they've played, I mean, this Missouri game, let's give some credit to Missouri now. They came in this game 5-0. I told you guys, they set milestones this year if you're Eli Drinkowitz, right? Like, hey, first off, we got to beat K-State. If we beat K-State, theoretically, we should start the season 5-0 with LSU coming here, and we're going to have all this energy at home to try to jump them. And honestly, they did that, guys. Like, they came out in this game. If you look at how this game began, they were up, like you guys said, 22-7. They came out and tried to jump LSU, knowing, hey, we have opportunity to beat an LSU team, try to go 6-0. People like Ryan Wingo are there in attendance, big recruits that are there, that are local recruits that they're trying to rein in. This was I said this on Bleacher. This was the biggest game for Mizzou since they played Auburn in the 2013 SEC championship game, when they had Michael Sam and Coney Ely and James Franklin and those guys and Darrell Green Beckham. This is literally the biggest game they had. And I have to give credit to LSU for surviving all that emotional stuff and then coming out there and then overwhelming them on offense. Like, you can talk about LSU's defense all you want to, but the LSU offense was like, all right, we just need to win this game. And Jaden Daniels, yet again,
Superman.
He's Superman, right? And so the passing game, now Diggs had another 100 yards on the ground. Jaden had another $135 on the ground himself, plus Malik Neighbors gets another. And I think LSU had 24 points in the fourth quarter of that. So they finished. LSU, this is all I'm saying with Brian Kelly before we start asking questions. He's 4-2 right now. He had the Florida State loss, and obviously he had the Ole Miss loss. His next games are favorable going into Bama. Going into Bama, they should be 6-2
and healthy.
And healthy. So at that point, it comes down really to the Bama game probably over the SEC West. If he somehow pulls that, now granted, that Bama game, that's classic offense versus defense type thing, and we can get to that when we get there. But LSU right now, if you're sitting in front of you, you control your own destiny to get to the SEC championship game. You still do, technically. So, you just keep playing.
Hey, and honestly, they got an opportunity where they can kind of make some noise and still win out as well. As good as Alabama is starting to look and they're starting to gel, Look, man, LSU's offense is legit.
They're putting up 40 something every week, Nino.
Yeah, they're legit, and they're doing this against good talent too. This isn't like they just putting up 40 on some scrubs. You know,
My point.
Which is weird, man, because
My
BK
point, the
is
SEC's not showing playing defense, y'all.
no,
What's going on?
No, but we're used to seeing BK teams, his Notre Dame teams play pretty damn good defense. They're pretty sound. Everything's pretty sound, right? But now it's like the opposite way around. They're playing freaking awesome offense, and their defense is just like mid. And it's like, what is up with LSU, man? If he finds a defensive coordinator that can man that side of the field,
they're gonna have to.
just don't
If he
know,
can find like a
man.
Marcus Freeman.
So do you,
Shut
hold
up.
on. But there was a lot of. Can we talk about the transition that LSU had with their defensive line coaches?
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
if
That's big.
They went through like 3 of them. Like, you know, after old boy went to the Broncos, the other guy came in, then he took a leave of absence, and BK was moving a lot of coaches around on the defensive side, and it really just has not gotten settled. That doesn't excuse how bad the secondary's been.
Yeah.
LSU secondary has been horrendous, and they're playing babies out there now because the veteran people sucked, and the babies are out there getting cooked, and it's madness over there. Shout out to Harold Perkins. He actually, you know, he had a really nice interception in this game where he played the middle field and looked like a DB back there with snagging one. So I got to give credit. Harold Perkins is showing signs of life, people. Still not looking like his freshman year, but he did have an outrageous interception in this game.
Yeah. All right. I think we talked enough about LSU and Missouri. Shout out to Missouri. You guys are a good team.
That's a good team.
And I don't think people realize how good of a team that is, because when we think about the SEC, we don't think about Missouri, right? People just don't.
I mean, but are they really a good team now?
I mean,
Like, are they really good?
They're an okay team with an elite trait that's
There you go.
scary. The
But also-
you have to, if you don't have a plan for those receivers, you're in a game, Jay.
But also,
Fair point.
Jay, man, a team like Missouri kind of reminds you of a Kansas State, right?
They still get the ass whipped by Georgia, though.
You know that they're good every 3 or 4 years to come and get you a 10-win season, right? But it's usually the seasons in between there where 7 wins or 8 wins. This team might look like they might get 10 wins a couple years in a row. You know what I mean? And it's in the SEC East. Like, they don't have to really play a lot of people. So they got a good shot, man. I'm impressed with the wide receiver core. I am.
Oh, their wide receiver room is absurdly good. Like, it's unreally good.
Right there. Hey, Brian said exactly what I just said. He said Mizzou is the K-State of the SEC. Once every so often they pop up. Brian, we thinking alike, brother. We thinking alike.
They haven't been good since Pinkel was the coach, man.
We talk about Pinker like that.
All right,
Let's go to Arkansas. Yeah, man. Arkansas, Ole Miss, man. Look, I want to start this one off, man. Arkansas, you are disappointing me. I had Arkansas winning 9 games this year. You're on a 4-game losing streak, and you're going to lose next week. All right?
And the week after.
What the hell is going on over there? Sam, man.
Wait, has Sam Pittman lost the locker room?
I don't know, man. It's sad to see, man. I was rooting for Arkansas to do some things this year, man, and I like KJ, but I tell you what, man, I might have to start taking some of my comments back about that team. But I ain't. Hey, Chris, how about you, man? What you think about Arkansas, man?
Excuse me, shit. I don't know what to make of them, to be honest with you. Arkansas is like I told y'all a while ago, KJ Jefferson is out there by himself. I mean, he's battling. And to be honest with you, this is the best KJ Jefferson has looked.
It's crazy.
He's leaner. He's more mobile. He is to me he's a more decisive passer. I mean, this is the most complete version. It's just crazy that each year that he's gotten better, the team overall has regressed. And so you're really starting to see that now. And let's just be real, man. Without the Treylon Burks and all those speedsters and stuff like that, having like a true number 1 wide receiver, man, it hurt their offense a lot, man, a lot. But they've had some turnover as well. But I don't know really what to make of them. but they're 2-3 right now, right?
No, 2-4.
2-4. There you go.
2-4.
Even worse. So I guess my question is for y'all. I'll turn it over to Steven, but are they bowl eligible at the end of the year?
No.
It's funny you say that because I'm looking at the remaining. I was literally looking. I was like, damn. I was thinking the same thing, Chris. I was
They
like,
got to get cooked.
well, this is now the part of the year where you start looking at, are they going to make a bowl, right? And so FIU, they have, because you have the ancillary SEC cakewalk game. So they got FIU. They have Auburn at home, which is going to be a freaking dogfight. That's 4 wins if we say that they should be favored over Auburn. Nick, October 21st, the Mississippi State game, that's a must-win for Arkansas at home. I'm sorry.
Shit. The rest of them are all wins. The rest of them are must win.
No, I'm just saying, like the Mississippi, like assuming they lose to Bama next week,
that's 5
and they go 2-5, right? Mississippi State, you need to win to go 3-5. I would say
you got to beat Florida.
At Florida to me that's a toss up.
But you got to do it. Oh my God, it's nasty for them.
They're gonna have to beat Auburn and FIU. That would give them 5 wins. 1, 2, 3. So they would need to win. They would need to win at least 4 out of the last
5 games to be bowl eligible.
Yeah. That's gonna be tough.
They can do it. Look, FIU's a win. They got to beat Mississippi State. Oh my God,
that's tough for them. For them, that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Mississippi State, Florida, Auburn, back to like it sounds. Ridiculous, but
they could catch Mississippi State at home, though. That's the thing. Mississippi State hasn't been world.
That should be the game that gets them off their losing streak. So then, that's 3-5 at that point.
Yeah, that's right.
Going to Florida,
that's gonna be tough. The Swamp's gonna be tough, and then Auburn at home, though. They got Auburn at home.
This is also the assumption that KJ's still healthy at this point
because KJ has.
He's carrying so much. And we just talked about it earlier. When you play big teams, very emotional games, and people flying around, you're going to lose people. That's why Rocket Sanders is out here trying his best, but he looks nothing like himself. He had 8 carries for 15 yards in this Ole Miss game, and Ole Miss run defense isn't this all world, whatever, right? Like, so if you're KJ and you're doing all of this just to keep your teams in the game. Jay talked about Sam Pittman, locker room. I give all Arkansas credit. They're competitive in these games. It's not like they haven't gotten blown out in not one of these losses. Every single game they've been competitive.
Yeah.
None of these losses are blowouts.
Yeah, they're playing tough.
A lot of it is because of KJ. But how is that sustainable? Is he going to be healthy in November? Seriously, and I hate to say that, but that's not even sustainable to put on a young man's body doing that much.
Man, this is
very scary times for Arkansas.
Alpha Dog said FIU's their only win.
That's disrespect.
Wow.
What happens? What happens with
that's so true?
The only win.
Could you imagine that? I think we all had Arkansas like 8+ wins this year. I think we all did. I think we all picked Arkansas for 8+.
I had them for 10, and I'm still pissed.
Yeah, I had them at 9. I think I had like 9-3.
Yeah, this tough, man.
Let's
talk about
business.
Ole Miss. Let's talk about Ole Miss though. Still on schedule if you're Lane Kiffin. Overall, right? Like Jackson Dart and some of the things they got going on. What's Ole Miss's slate looking like?
5-1. Next game's against Auburn. Auburn next, and then Vanderbilt. So those are going to be 2 wins. So they'll be 7-1.
They're on schedule,
and then they play A&M at home.
They're on schedule.
They should beat A&M. I can see them running off 3 straight games, and then they hit Georgia. Bam! They hit Georgia. That's going to be the barometer right there. Lane, you want to be a big boy?
Because you've already played LSU and Bama.
Yeah. Lane, you want to be a big boy? Let's see what you're going to do. Georgia's going to smash them. And then you got ULM and then Mississippi State.
FIU, guys. FIU. I just can't get over FIU. Golly, that's so bad. All right.
Surfer Boy's hilarious because the last two teams we've talked about, Ole Miss and Missouri, he's like, yeah, we need them to stay hot because he wants he wants them to fatten them up before the slaughter.
That's so bad. Oh,
Man.
my God.
Man, the joys of having a two-time defending national championship team and looking for your third one in a row, and knowing that you have probably the highest shot of getting the championship this year.
But I'll say this, though. Going into next week's games,
Yeah,
I
let's
know
go
that
to
we're
next
coming
week.
up on time. We've got a lot of interesting matchups.
We do.
Arkansas, Alabama's not of interest. Neither is Georgia, Vanderbilt. That should be destroying. But that A&M, Tennessee one's intriguing. Florida, South Carolina. South Carolina's a 2-point favorite at home versus Florida of all teams. Good
then-
God. What?
I agree with that spread.
Look
That
here,
is
man.
low.
Okay, crazy
2
part about
points.
this game. Look here, man. Crazy part about the SEC this next week. Florida and South Carolina, the game has no merit for anything. It's just going to be a good game to watch, right?
If
It's
South
just gonna be a
Carolina's
good
2-3, like that is just.
I know, but it's crazy. It's going to be a
bananas
good
to
game
me.
to watch. I've been kind of screaming the praises of of Rattler this year, but it's now it's
They
a
beat
case of
Furman.
which Spencer Rattler are we going to get this game?
They beat Furman in Mississippi State. That's it.
But
What is this?
But Florida hasn't done a thing. I mean, Florida, if they get that running game going, I mean, they got some dogs at running back, man.
Etienne's good.
ETN's good, and so is Johnson. Johnson's he's the second running back, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Let's start with the South Carolina Florida game, man.
Montreal Johnson. He's their leading rusher.
Yeah.
Trevor Etienne's number 2 behind Montreal.
Dude, who do we think wins this game, South Carolina and Florida, man?
I think Florida goes in there and just run it down their throat.
Oh shit. I think so too.
And I think they put in work on Rattler.
I think they too. Their line sucks. God, South Carolina's line. I feel bad
It's so
for them.
bad. They're gonna make Florida look like superstars, dog. Like real talk.
I feel like this is a big spot for Beamer and them. Like they're
Beamer
like
ball,
you guys
baby.
said, they're 2-3. They only have one conference win. I think they've gotten a lot of attaboys for some competitive spots,
Yeah.
right? But at this point, if you're South Carolina and you want to continue to be in any type of conversation, you need to win this Florida game at home, as far as I'm concerned. I understand why the line is what it is, but I'm just saying if I'm looking at it from the South Carolina lens, with expectations still here, I'm not trying to go 2-4, and Florida right now is 4-2. So I'm just saying.
Florida is 4-2. I mean, after the horrible start they had.
Yeah, Billy got to fatten up on a couple teams, man.
He did.
Yeah, 4-2.
Yeah, he did have a few ham sandwiches up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
Living
got
the
to
good
play-
life.
They played Charlotte and then some other team that they scheduled from LinkedIn.
Wasn't it
but-
like Miami? No.
He said from LinkedIn. I hate you so
McNeese
much.
State. It was McNeese. It was McNeese State.
Oh, okay.
They played Tennessee, Charlotte. They lost to Kentucky, which says a lot about Florida after seeing what Georgia did to Kentucky this weekend.
They beat Tennessee.
And and then they beat Vanderbilt. You know what? This game's gonna be a lot closer than what we think. I mean, I think
That's what I'm saying. That's where the line makes sense to me.
Oh my God, Chris, you awfully quiet over there, man. What you think?
It's a bum fight, man. Throw the spoon out there in the middle. Let them get to it. Like,
You got, hey, say, Chris, you got to throw one of them 7-Eleven burritos out in the middle of the street. Man. Go
you know
for
what I'm saying? Throw it out there.
it. It is a bum fight.
Nah, to be honest
really
with you,
bad.
I mean, the big games are not even really in the SEC. It's really the ACC who, not ACC,
Pac,
but
the
Pac-12.
Pac.
Yeah, Pac.
No, the Pack. It's the Pack this week where the big games
Pack
are.
is eating this week. Oregon and Washington is enough.
Ooh.
to supplant
That's a
anything
heavyweight
in the
fight.
SEC.
Who does USC
That's
play this
heavyweight.
weekend?
And
USC plays Notre Dame in South Bend.
I don't know, man. Notre Dame-
UCLA, Oregon State.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
UCLA,
Yeah.
Oregon
Very, very good
State.
game.
Oh, it's going to be really good. How about Colorado?
They play Stanford at the crib on Friday
Okay.
night.
They should win that.
Yeah, they're 11.5-point favorites. They better cover
Arizona
the spread.
State, they were a big favorite, and it came down to the last second. But
Which, granted, attrition is they're not. They don't have the depth for it yet. So it makes sense.
they didn't have the depth yet. All right, cool. We talked enough about Florida and South Carolina. Okay, Texas A&M, Tennessee, at Tennessee. What's the line on that one, folks?
Which one?
Texas A&M,
Tennessee?
Tennessee.
Tennessee's a 3-point favorite.
That's crazy.
Yep, Tennessee 3-point favorite at the crib.
Well,
so
basically,
neutral site, they'd be even. So
is this where the volume continues to go up? And is this where more A&M people come forward and the volume goes up for Jimbo Fisher? Or
Absolutely.
Where's A&M people fall on this? Or is this a game where they're like, no, we should walk in here and beat this Tennessee team? Like, they're not. I know that try to get back on track. Like, what are the expectations here?
Man, look, Texas A&M is very impatient right now.
Why is Chris laughing? I'm very serious with what I'm
What
saying.
you laughing at, Chris?
Everything that's going on, and then this comment hits me right in the middle of it.
Versus Mitter.
Versus Mitter.
oh my God, I hate y'all. Y'all in the comment section, y'all got to stop. I'm choking.
I didn't even see that.
I'm looking down because
I just kind of slid that in on you guys.
Great comment, Sam.
I try to make sure you guys staying awake. Man, look, A&M fans are growing very impatient right now. They're impatient, dude.
And I love it.
I love it too. Just like Steven said. Steven said this is the first time you saw Case. She was going off. Like she was going off. A lot of A&M fans in my timeline are going off. I got friends that went to A&M that are like texting me like, "Screw this dude!" Like,
and they normally keep it in the house with their complaining, and it's finally coming out because they know Nino. And it's finally like, damn it, this is we can't tolerate this anymore.
No, because think about this: if A&M loses this game, they go to 4-3, right? And they got a pretty tough sled here towards the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. A&M after Tennessee, they got South Carolina. That should be an even game. But then you got Ole Miss at Ole Miss. Mississippi State's not going to be no joke of a game. I think they should beat Mississippi State at Cal Field though. Then you got Abilene Christian, and then you got LSU.
In
right?
Death Valley, guaranteed to be a night game. Guaranteed.
And that's a revenge game for LSU.
This is a pivotal game. If A&M loses this game and goes down to 4-3 after week 7, they're gonna get beat by Ole Miss and I think LSU. Two of these teams are gonna beat them. Where it's what it is, USC, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, or LSU. They're gonna split them games. And if that happens and they finish 7-5, they're gonna start calling for Jimbo head, man.
Here's the smartest thing that A&M could do as an administration. Give him the Scott Frost treatment. See if there's any wiggle room to go in there and try to restructure, refigure out, recalibrate, recalculate, whatever you want to call it, that deal or something.
My brother in Christ. Let me stop.
I don't know how you do it, but go ahead.
Jimmy Sexton is that agent. He ain't, unless they're upping his pay, he ain't doing Nathan.
He don't have to do a damn thing. Do anything.
That man is a legend at the bank.
I'm just trying to give them some type of advice. Okay, this is legal advice.
They would have to find something at cause, dude. That's the only way.
That's it. They had to do a melt to some.
I hate to put
that could happen or something.
But that's your only out. It would have to be cause.
Yeah,
there's no football reason.
They're screwed.
If I wouldn't even answer the phone if I'm Jimmy Sexton and Jimbo, if they want to talk about restructure. The contract is good as is. Good day, sir.
The only thing that they could get him at is if they found some violations with non-existent NIL. That's the only thing that they can get him at. But A&M would never go down that route. Because then if they open up Pandora's box,
he knows where the bodies are buried, and he's already
exactly.
Made that too.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, what do you have?
Nothing.
On this man when he knows where the bodies are buried.
He's just gonna keep chewing his snuff and smoking his cigarettes or whatever he does every day and cashing checks.
I will say this though. This is in regards to this game. DJ Durkin, you're not safe. Okay, A&M defensive coordinator, because things were different when Elko was there. Okay, Elko was, and he's you guys have seen what he's already done at Duke, as a legitimate defensive mastermind in this sport. DJ Durkin, look, Jimbo Petrino's probably going to be back just with the uptick that he's had. Jimbo's not going anywhere. The scapegoat will be Durkin.
You can't,
especially with how bad that secondary is.
But Steven, he can't do that because he just did it last year.
Durkin was there last year, though. This is Durkin's
I
second
thought
year.
Durkin was gone the year before.
No. Durkin came in after Elko took the
Duke job. Yeah. Durkin's been there for a couple years now, right?
The thing is, what covered it up, this is year 2 for Durkin.
That's right.
Durkin had a veteran secondary last year.
And
that's the difference. Yeah, I mean, when you think about like Jalen and all those guys that were there last year, like they were grown-ups on top of the defensive. Like their defense was, he got by with the personnel. But now that it's like, oh yeah, you have talented secondary. Bryce is back there. All these guys aren't, BS recruits, obviously. And the standard has fallen off a cliff in terms of defending the pass, like A&M. And this is going to be interesting. I say this because of this game, because Chris's friend Joe Milton is also under surveillance.
Yes.
And so it's like, can Joe Milton take advantage of a secondary that Jalen Milroe followed the blueprint that Tyler Van Dyke put out there of attacking them deep? Can Joe Milton follow suit? Because that's what Jalen Milroe did. Jalen Milroe followed the blueprint that Tyler Van Dyke put out there, where they were hitting them deep.
Jay,
we know what it is.
We doing this tonight or no? Or can we just agree just to let him be?
Who Milton?
Yeah, I mean,
Jay ain't talking about Milton no more. He's off the Milton train.
He knows that's the key to the game, though. Let's be honest.
I 100% agree. You're not wrong whatsoever. He is the key to this game. Like the Tennessee offense has been inept with him passing the ball right now, and as much as I was hoping that Joey Halsey as well as Heupel could have figured it out with this dude's rocket of an arm, they just haven't figured it out. And so at this point, it's like, well, just figure out a way to make the dude run to try to win games. Like, you need to just use his legs at this point. Run the dude like he's Cam Newton. Just don't ask him to pass the ball that often.
Run him
he
like,
still has to pass it.
No, man.
But all you can do.
That's what they've been
doing.
All you got
left.
Buddy,
like you don't want to play Nico. You don't want to play the freshman
field
right
throwing
now.
the javelin. That's what he needs to do.
He does.
He does. Than this man.
You won't hear me disagreeing with you.
He threw the javelin. Y'all wrong.
Let him throw the javelin.
He throw the javelin. He might be an Olympic, javelin thrower though. He can make some money off that.
Yo, Surfer Boy, before the season in this chat, Surfer Boy said, Joe Milton, what's the bets for him throwing the longest incompletion this year? and he just continues to be on Joe Milton's head.
He's on top. Oh, that's crazy. How did they land into the Tennessee River? Where's Torch? Stop it. All right, man. Look here. At Tennessee, I got Tennessee winning this game, though. I don't know why.
What was the spread?
3 points, right?
Tennessee 3. I got Tennessee winning this game too.
Yeah, I got Tennessee.
For me.
I have.
Like, it makes no sense for them to not win this game. Let's put it that way.
I just have no faith in Texas A&M. I have more faith in Milton than I do, which is crazy because Texas A&M's defense is outstanding. I have more faith in Milton on offense than I do anything on A&M on offense. A&M has all those weapons,
Joe
man.
Milton not executing, dude.
Well, Max Johnson hasn't executed, and he's been a starter. There's a reason why he had 17 starts and 27 touchdowns at LSU, and there's a reason why he's at A&M fighting for a backup job. It's the same thing we're talking about Joe Milton. He just got forced into action.
He's spitting. He is spitting the flow. We're gonna call him Spitter from now on. That's that Tupac emotions in his words, lyrics right there. Like he's giving you the full feeling of this mess, man. Come on.
Are there any Tennessee fans in the chat here, guys? Let me know if there's any Tennessee fan. At what point?
Ain't nothing I can say about them, man.
I just want to know.
It is not last year. Hendon Hooker was the man.
Hendon, and that's my fear for them, right? Was this? I mean, now married also with the fact that Jalen Hyatt and Tillman, when he was healthy, they would take the top off the guy. And y'all running that offense know how important the speed element is with those receivers, taking those safeties and creating everything underneath. Hendon Hooker was a master at it, just like DG is, and they had the requisite, players to execute that. This Bear and Shoot offense looks very different when you have somebody very inaccurate and you have people that can't run like that. Like now, all of a sudden, there's just a bunch of 3 and outs. So it's tough. I will ask this though: what's the barometer in the Tennessee fan base about Nico? At what point has there been those discussions, or are they just saying?
Steven, I don't think they can because they're 4-1.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem. You can't. That's the problem. You can't put him in right now.
It's a soft 4-1 though.
But still, it's 4-1. You know what this reminds me of? This is it's on the
better there after Bama though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
The schedule ain't getting easier.
So
and you don't want to throw a true freshman out there yet until you have to. You only throw a true freshman out there when you have to. You avoid it like the plague.
But after
the last
Bama,
thing you want to do is mess him up.
After Bama, look, they got Kentucky, UConn, right?
Hit us.
Then they got Missouri. Then they got Georgia. Then they got Vanderbilt. To me, to be honest with you, if they beat A&M this week, Bama's going to beat them. I think they beat Kentucky. They beat UConn. And then they're going to lose against Georgia, and they got a toss-up between Missouri. They have the opportunity to still go 8-4. I think at the lowest, 8-4. Hold on.
Okay. The schedule's still favorable.
Yeah, man. Schedule's favorable. You know, what the SEC does well, I think, is they don't let you play. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. You got the 4 non-conference games, man. That extra non-conference game helps, dude. It just does, and that's why they have so many teams go to the damn, like bowl games, because they got 4 baked-in wins if they do it right. So
yeah.
So that extra non-conference against UConn, I mean, that's like gold for them, especially in the end of the season. So, but yeah, they're 4-1. There's no way you're going to pull them now. If they get plastered by A&M, I can see some chatter saying, all right, rip the Band-Aid off. Well, not rip the Band-Aid off. Let Milton start against Alabama and then rip the Band-Aid off.
Let's go to because I want to go to Auburn LSU.
Yeah, Auburn LSU.
An important one as well. Just before we get going.
Yeah. Spit. Go ahead,
man. That game's at LSU. Does anybody have the spread for if I can get the spread for
which one?
That one?
Auburn LSU.
Auburn LSU. LSU's a favorite by a lot. 11.
I could see that. At
Death Valley, LSU is an 11-point favorite in that game, which that's probably going to be one of my Friday games anyway, too. I don't like it. Even though Jaden Daniels is still cooking. He's doing his thing. He has no help.
I don't like it either from a standpoint of how LSU has looked even at Death Valley at points this year and not covering. I think LSU is going to win this football game. I'm going to be clear. And, this is, low key, smaller rivalry, Tiger versus Tiger and that whole thing. But I just don't think that Auburn's going to be able to generate. Hugh's going to try whatever he can, but I just don't think Auburn's going to be able to take advantage of the LSU secondary like some of the other passers have recently to generate enough points to keep up with Jaden.
Well, why not, Steven? Why can't they do it? Who's that quarterback, Steven? Go ahead and talk about your quarterback. Come on.
My quarterback.
Yeah, go ahead and say it, Steven.
I was wrong about him. I was wrong. I thought Peyton Thorne would be competent. He's not even that.
Dude,
I thought I was wrong. Now he played okay whatever game that was before where he put up the Georgia game. He actually played. He fought. He competed in the Georgia game. I'll give him that. But he hasn't remotely looked like the player we saw a couple years ago.
Hold on, Steve. He didn't compete. Georgia.
The Georgia game?
That man threw for 82 yards.
He was running though. Did you see him run? Peyton Thorne was getting busy on the ground, though. Didn't he have like a sick? Hold on, bro. Like,
I want to hear. I want to hear
competed.
Chris is on
You
this
know,
one.
he was getting busy in the ground. Yeah, he
I
had
said competed.
Hold on,
I didn't
hold
say
on.
he threw it well against
Hold
Georgia.
on. Nick, how many yards did he throw for?
he rushed for more than he threw for.
No, how much he throw for?
82.
Steven.
He rushed for 92.
My
Steven,
brother, I
before
said
you
he
keep talking not
competed.
so fast, my friend. That boy is a certified bum, and I tried to tell you that before the season. But you sat there and tried to say, hey, man, what he did at Michigan State was good. No, it wasn't. No,
Who
it
else is a
wasn't.
bum? You know who else is a bum? Robbie Ashford's a bum for not unseating him. How about that?
Yeah. Ashford's a bum too for not taking the job.
Yeah.
Certified.
I mean, come on.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. Peyton throwing 12 rushes, 92 yards. He was the leading rusher.
He
in the
was
game.
getting busy on the. He was. That's what I said. He was competing, and it was a close game. He can't throw like the throwing. I left that. I let that go. But Peyton Thorne was running around at least. You know, trying to.
He was running for his life.
Yeah, what I say about what I say about Quinn in the comments just a second ago, just messing around. Peyton Thorne is curbside pickup from Quiznos. That don't even exist no more. That's not even a place.
You don't got
He just
Quiznos
out
no more?
there. He in the world of the
Quiznos
void.
still exists.
They got
What happened to
Quiznos, don't they?
Quiznos?
Where the hell? You tell me when the last time you saw a Quiznos.
I don't know what
Man,
the economy is
2012
looking
in
like in
Wyoming.
that part of Oklahoma, brother. But Quiznos, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they still floating around Norman, my boy.
2012 in Wyoming for
I
me.
ain't seen Quiznos
Man,
forever.
that was 11 years ago for me in Wyoming. I used to go to Quiznos at lunch all the time.
Quiznos.
Right.
Oh yeah, back when you was
Stray.
hitting that diversity quota. I like it. I like
Boy,
it.
man, hey man, I raised it up too, big dog. I raised it up.
Nino
too,
was
big
on the
dog.
brochure like with that smile like a Cheshire cat.
Oh man, look, Auburn sucks. I'm just gonna call it what it is, dude. Against Power 5 competition, here are these numbers out, folks. Against Cal, they
Nasty.
scored 14 points and they won. Against A&M, they scored 10 points. Against Georgia, they got busy against Georgia. I will say, Steven, you're right, 20 points. Georgia, it was 27-20. LSU's gonna murder these dudes, man.
I don't know. I think I may pick Auburn in this game.
Man.
Why? No. Let Chris go. Why are you picking Auburn?
Because
that's
I
interesting.
think that Freeze is going to have a hell of a game plan. The thing is that Freeze has schemed some games up very well. He just can't help it that his players can't execute. But and that's one thing I'll say about Freeze. He is not afraid. I was watching a Paul Feinbaum show. Was it yesterday or the day before? Either one. I think it was yesterday. And he's sitting there at a press conference or whatnot. He's just basically saying, "Yeah, I mean, we don't have the players right now." I mean, he's basically talking about like roster this, roster that.
He about to
roster
get
that.
active in the portal.
Oh yeah, he's about to get active.
He letting them know right now.
Yeah, yeah. No, Freeze sits up there and he doesn't look happy at all with his team. He's just like, we can't execute. I mean, essentially, that's what he says every time.
I don't know who evaluated these guys, but they're bums.
He's gonna be like Suge Knight at the Source Awards. You know what I'm saying? You want to come to a team where your coach gonna get all your business.
You remember when Sark?
What
was it 2021's Nino when Sark said we're gonna have 38 new scholarship players on the roster next
Basically,
season?
you're saying some of y'all gonna be in the portal. Y'all just don't know it yet.
Right, and you don't know it yet.
Yeah, like BV last year. All you heard, you didn't hear what like he wasn't open with it like Sark was. All you heard was behind the scenes there was some very uncomfortable conversation.
Happens every year. Every year. Oh
they're gonna be Hugh Freeze this year.
Yeah.
All right. What about Kentucky, Missouri? Any thoughts there?
I think Missouri gonna take that. I got Missouri, man.
Missouri gonna light that ass up.
I think so too.
Where's the game
Yeah,
at?
same.
That one's at Missouri, right?
No, isn't that in Kentucky? No, yeah, I think you're right. Let me pull it up.
It's at
I
thought it
was
was
looking at it's
Oh,
in
it's at
Kentucky. No,
Kentucky.
it's in Lexington. So and Kentucky's a 2.5 point favorite.
I got
Kentucky's
Mizzou
favorite.
by 15.
15? I don't know about 15, but let me see. Let me go check their schedule again.
Who, Missouri?
Yeah.
They're sitting at, you've got Kentucky, going into Kentucky, South Carolina comes to the crib, they travel to Georgia, Tennessee
game
comes to
feels
the
like a
crib,
pick 'em.
Florida comes to the crib, and they travel to Arkansas. So,
You know what though?
They both were in. Granted, Kentucky got their ass whooped, but they both were in wars last week. So I'm trying to think like, all right, is Kentucky going to take 2 losses from that Georgia loss? You know,
Ken-
sometimes teams are so beat up after.
Hey, Steven,
Go ahead, Nino.
but think about this for a minute. Georgia got their ass handed to. I'm sorry. Georgia handed Kentucky an ass whooping.
Right.
It was bad too.
Missouri had a dog fight. This might actually favor Kentucky because they didn't have a dog fight. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have a dog
Oh,
fight.
you waved the white flag in the Georgia game and you
Yeah,
retired
man.
the troops.
Hey, man. It's 39-0 right now. You know what I'm saying?
I'll believe it if they get on like an actual like they got to start fast for me. If they don't start fast, then I don't care about all that, Nick.
Yeah.
Who's that?
We'll see.
Kentucky?
Talking about Kentucky, yeah.
It's just that's an emotional roller coaster for Missouri because they were up big in that game. And then
Brian Weber, what was Mark Stoops' comment?
Yeah, what do you say?
I didn't. Well, no.
Oh, he said, "Did Georgia be buying all them players?"
Oh, he did make that comment. And he's like, "Hey,
he ain't wrong."
Well, he didn't say about. He just said we got to start buying. So he told the fan base. He was calling to the fan base basically to start
donating to the collectives
so that we could buy players like Georgia.
Because that's the thing. It's no matter what you try to say or do in regard. He was not he wasn't taking a shot at Georgia. He was just pointing out today's landscape, and it's what it is. Georgia's collective is putting out bread, and they understand we're gonna pay for all these big old defensive linemen. We're gonna get the biggest tight ends out there.
They started the collective a few years before we knew what it.
Hey man, don't worry about that. It might have been in Chick-fil-A bags. It could have been.
That was Tennessee. I was in Chick-fil-A bags.
Okay, well there's not been
Georgia.
What's in Georgia?
Go look that 2018 class. When I saw that class at that point, I said they are going to win a national championship. There's like it was like Thanos. I was like, this is Thanos. Like we're inevitable. That's when I saw that Georgia class. I was like, my good. That was the one that Justin Fields was in.
Oh yeah.
Think about some of the people that didn't even play at Georgia, and they still were dominant.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we can end the show on this right here. Mark Stoops, you're a Stoops, so I'm going to let you live. But I'm gonna say this right here. It's dumb as hell that you would even say that, and all the rest of that. You kind of bit the hand that was feeding all of y'all, because a few years ago you talked all that noise about Coach Cal said, hey, Kentucky is a basketball school. You said no, and you went all the rest of that and stuff. You want to talk about Texas A&M? Let's talk about Kentucky, but on basketball. All them 5 stars and everybody they was getting before NIL was in there. I mean, don't get me wrong. Coach Cal's a hell of a coach. I love Coach Cal.
Yeah, come on.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? But
come on,
we all gonna be real. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Kentucky's a basketball school, man. That's where the money is going.
yeah, exactly.
Y'all got money. It's just not
going to your sport. They're paying it across 12 players, not 53. Right? I'm sorry, 12 and not 85. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse Brown says UK gets how much from TV deals from the SEC? 30 million plus. Those rich, can't afford to buy players. Different way of how that money is not for that. Different pots of money, Jesse. Different pots of money. Yeah. Let's see what's us. I think that's it, folks.
We didn't comment on Georgia at Vanderbilt.
Oh, you want to comment on that?
Wait,
what's the spread? I just want to know what the spread is. I just want to know what the spread is. What's
30?
30?
I believe.
The only question is, does Georgia cover? Because Georgia was 0 for 5.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Georgia was 0 for 5 against the spread until last week. That's the only question I have about that game.
Which is wild to me.
No,
they're 31.5 point favorites
they ain't gonna cover.
at Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt Stadium's not even complete.
They ain't gonna cover.
Vanderbilt doesn't have visitor locker rooms right now, guys.
They
send them to a trailer.
Georgia ain't gonna cover, man. I'm telling you, they are sleepwalking right now.
Doing what they need to do and get out of there.
They did what they did to Kentucky, I think, because they were undefeated and people were trying to make this like, their first test. They're like, okay, really? You know what I'm saying?
Right. We gonna turn up. That's the one team. That's also the program where they're allowed to do this flip the switch stuff. A, because they're champions and they're proven, and B, because they had, again, like we said at the beginning, they have people coming back.
Yeah.
McConkey's back. You know, the running backs are coming back.
They're stacked.
Yeah, so that's another thing where they were working people in. And then Arkansas, Alabama, what's the spread there?
Arkansas, Alabama. Bama is a 20-point favorite at the crib.
They ain't
I
gonna
think
cover
that's
that either.
high.
That's high. They ain't gonna cover that.
I think that's
That's
high.
too high.
That's too high.
Yeah. Arkansas's backed in the corner. They're probably like a rabbit dog. They're gonna be fighting. They're gonna be scratching. They're gonna be like a damn hog.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like a damn razorback. They're gonna be fighting. Have you
Look
seen
here,
a
man.
boar go after folks? Boars are crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like they have to fight in this game.
That's our last game, Nino, by the way, that we haven't
Yeah. That's our last game. But look at me. Arkansas is gonna fight. I think Bama wins between 10 and 13 points, somewhere around there. I don't see.
That's
20.
what I was thinking.
I don't see 20.
I was thinking like 27-14. I think that Alabama defense clamps down. Jalen's been playing much better football, but I mean, it's still that Alabama offense still isn't great, right? Like, I wish Ty was here to touch more on this. The run game outside of Jalen Milroe, if Alabama wants to make further strides, they got to get going outside of Milroe and
They
being
couldn't
able to
run
hand the football up. They could not run against A&M at all.
I think they had 40, 50 total yards against A&M rushing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just uncommon for a Bama team. Man. I'm so not used to seeing it, especially with the talent.
They were all dependent. Their whole yardage was the deep balls. That was it. Now, granted, A&M sucks against the deep ball, but they've got to figure out. I think the back end of the season, Tommy Rees and those guys how to run the football traditionally.
Exactly.
But those are the games.
Yeah. Well, fellas, man, we've been on for an hour and 30 minutes. Hope everybody in this chat has enjoyed it. Hey, folks.
Yeah, y'all be active, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you
Y'all
guys are really
always
active today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Go like this video. I think we had a height today of about 140 people in the chat today. So, so go like the video, man. It just helps us grow a lot. But yeah, just tune in next week, man. SC Connect Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Bleacher Report Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time. And check all of our channels, whether it's my channel, Chris's, Jay's, Ty, Stevens, for more content, man. And Surfer Boy, he says he loves the show, and we love you too, Surfer Boy, man. So
we love you too, Surfer Boy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you
you
always
joining
us, man. We appreciate it. All y'all always joining. All our loyals on our channels. Thank y'all as usual. And
Cool. We out, y'all. Peace.
Boomer in the chat.
Hell no.
Welcome.